Hello, my name is Sebastiano Jacobus Duiven Dumatubun with NRP 120121112. I am from the Faculty of Law, University of Surabaya. I will explain to you about Prambanan Temple. Prambanan Temple is located in Prambanan Tourism Park, approximately 17 kilometers to the east of Yogyakarta, precisely in Prambanan Village, Bokoharjo District. The distance between Prambanan Temple and Surabaya is 308 kilometers and can be reached in 4 hours. The location is only about 100 meters from the Yogya-Solo highway, so it is not difficult to find it. Part of the tourist area, which is located at an altitude of 154 meters above sea levels, is included in the Sleman Regency area, while some are included in the Klaten area. Prambanan Temple is the largest Hindu temple in Indonesia. Until now, it is not certain when this temple was built, on whose order, but it is strongly suspected that Prambanan Temple was built around the middle of the 9th century by the king of the Sanjaya dynasty, namely King Balitung Maha Sambu. The allegation is based on the contents of the Syiwagrha Inscription, which was found on Prambanan and is currently stored in the National Museum in Jakarta. The inscription dates 778 Saka, was written during the reign of Rakai Pikatan. The restoration of Prambanan Temple took a very long time, as if it had never been completed. The rediscovery of the ruins of the largest building, namely the Shiva Temple, was reported by the C.A. Lons in 1733. The first excavation and records were carried out under the supervision of Grundmann. Excavations were completed in 1885, including clearing shrubs and grouping the stones of the temple ruins. In 1902, the efforts was resumed by Van Erp. The grouping and identification of rubble stones is carried out in more detail. In 1918, the restoration of Prambanan Temple was resumed under the supervision of the Antiquities Service, led by P.G. Perkins. Through these efforts, some of the ruins of the Shiva Temple was reconstructed. In 1926, a restoration committee was formed under the leadership of De Haan to continue Perkins' efforts. Under the supervision of this committee, in addition to improving the results of the rebuilding of the Shiva Temple, preparation for the construction of the Api Temple were also started. In 1931, De Haan died and was succeeded by V.R. van Romont. In 1932, the restoration of the 2 Api temples was successfully completed. The restoration has to be stopped in 1942 when Japan took over the government in Indonesia. After going through a long and stalled process due to war and transition of government, in 1953, the restoration of the Shiva Temple and the 2 Api temples was declared complete. Until now, the restoration of Prambanan Temple is still being carried out in stages. Inside the Prambanan Temple, there is a temple complex consisting of, first, 3 Trimurti temples, including Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma temples. Second, 3 Wahana temples, including Nandi, Garuda, and Angsa temples. Third, 2 Apit temples, located between the rows of Trimurti temples and Wahana temples on the north and south sides. Fourth, 4 Kalir temples, located in the 4 cardinal directions just behind the entrance to the inner courtyard or core zone. Fifth, 4 Patok temples, located in 4 corners of the inner courtyard or core zone. Sixth, 224 Parwara temples, arranged in 4 concentric rows with the number of temples from the innermost to the outermost rows, 44, 52, 60, and 68. So there are a total of 240 temples in the Prambanan complex. Friends, behind the beauty of this Prambanan temple, there is a local folklore that tells about the origin of this Prambanan temple. Now I will tell the story of Roro Jonggrang. Roro Jonggrang is the daughter of King Prambanan, whose father was killed by Bandung Bondowoso to take over his power. After killing Roro Jonggrang's father, Bandung Bondowoso began to dominate the browsing kingdom and asked Roro Jonggrang to be his wife. Roro Jonggrang also refused the invitation because he didn't want to be the murderer's wife. However, Roro Jonggrang realized that he could not be careless. Suddenly, an idea crossed his mind. He would agree to marry Bandung Bondowoso on the condition that he built 1,000 temples in one night as his wedding dowry. Bandung Bondowoso also agreed to this because he was sure that whatever he asked for would be granted. Bandung Bondowoso, who befriended the jinn, summoned an army of jinn by holding a ritual to help him build 1,000 temples in one night. In a very short time, the temple building was already in order. Roro Jonggrang, who saw this, was shocked and did not expect it. Roro Jonggrang, who was panicked at that time, thought of all the ways to thwart the construction of the temple. The idea arose to thwart the construction of the temple by waking all the ladies and gentlemen of the place and ordering them to collect a pile of hay and burn all the hay. The fire started getting bigger, making the sky look red. The rooster was deceived and crowed loudly. The atmosphere was like morning because the jinn were afraid of the sun and could not work at sunrise. The genie troops immediately scattered. Bandung Bondowoso did not pay attention to this because he saw that the temples were already standing majestically. Bandung Bondowoso also exhibited the buildings of this temple to Roro Jonggrang. However, Roro Jonggrang asked count of number of temples. It is true that 1,000 temples. After counting the number, it is only 999, less one temple. Roro Jonggrang also rejected the application because it did not meet the requirements. Bandung Bondowoso, who did not accept this, was immediately angry, and with his magic, cursed Roro Jonggrang into stone statue to complete the missing temple. Bandung Bondowoso's desire to build 1,000 temples was fulfilled, but his desire to marry Roro Jonggrang was gone. He could not marry a statue. This folklore is not necessarily true, because until now there is no truth. Now I will tell you the moral value of this story. The moral value is never cheat on others. In the story of Roro Jonggrang, it is told that Roro Jonggrang cheated on Bandung Bondowoso by ordering Bandung Bondowoso to enter the well that Bandung Bondowoso has made as one condition to become Roro Jonggrang's husband. After entering it, it turned out that Roro Jonggrang and Patih Kupolo had deliberately buried Bandung Bondowoso in a well. And also when Bandung Bondowoso tried to build 1,000 temples, which had been requested by Roro Jonggrang as a condition for Roro Jonggrang to be married by Bandung Bondowoso. And at the last moment, there was one less temple. Roro Jonggrang, assisted by the youth and court ladies in waiting, cheated so that Bandung Bondowoso failed to fulfill his requirement by making the condition around the temple construction area like dawn and had broken, which caused the genies who helped Bandung Bondowoso to leave before the temple was completed. From that story, an important value can be drawn, namely that we as humans should never cheat on others just for our own sake. So, how are the viewers after listening to this explanation about Prambanan Temple? Of course, this is an interesting tourist destination. Therefore, let's preserve our culture so that it doesn't get lost by visiting Prambanan Temple in Yogyakarta. You can invite your extended family to enjoy the beauty of this Prambanan Temple and feel how rich the culture of our country Indonesia is. That's all my explanation about this Prambanan Temple. I am sorry if there are any wrong words. Thank you for your attention. I say goodbye and see you next time. Thank you.